Do not read it if you are single. Single, celibate, and chaste. Don't try. I'm back. Let's talk about these books. I'm back and I'm not going to waste time. Let's talk about these books, y'all. I've had the time of my... No, this is not part. This is for next month. So, I've had the time of my life. You know, I'm actually going to make this a bit more of a chit-chatty, let's get into it kind of thing, because someone asked me why am I so fixated on authors, like African authors, especially West African authors. I think it's easier for me to read West African books because I'm from an Anglophone country. I'm from Ghana and partly Nigeria, but I grew up in Ghana, so I identify with Ghana more. And which is why some of these books really hit home for me. I'm going to introduce these books and also talk about life in Germany and spill the beans on how it's really been for me at the same time. But first, let's talk about the books and I'll see how much energy I have left. I read these books. First of all, Trevor Noah. It was first, right? That was the first one I read. Then I read, I think after Trevor Noah, I read, I believe I Need a New Name. Right? This book is hilarious. Hilarious. I read Stay With Me. I read The Headdress of Harare. And this one, I'll talk about it too. But as I'm introducing these books to you, I actually mean these are books you can read and enjoy. Like, I'm recommending these books to you. Noma Swazi. Hey, this book, please, if you are single, you are not sexually active, mind your business. Don't read it. Don't read it. I've said my own. It's a beautiful story, but do not read it if you are single. Single, celibate, and chaste. Don't try. That's what I'm going to say. And the last one I read was Taye Selassie, Ghana Must Go. Let me get into it. I think I've already done a review on the Trevor Noah book. It's an autobiography written in his humor. Like, you can actually tell that he took the pen and like wrote this book. This book has been amazing so far. I will reread it probably 3 times and would never get old for me. I'm definitely going to love this book. Like, I'm going to re-love this book is what I mean. I really love it. I know I'm going to love it again. It talks about so many things I can identify with. I can identify with everything because though I've been to South Africa before, it made it easier for me to understand some things that he was talking about. But when it comes to certain things like the brutal gun violence and everything, I didn't grow up in the USA as well, so I can't talk on that. But when it comes to some of the things he was talking about, I was like, wow. But when he talked about single motherhood, some fathers being absent and all that, I could relate to that. Fortunately, unfortunately. Taye Selassie, I think it was the 3rd book I started in July or August. And no, I think it was in August. And I couldn't finish it immediately. So I had to lay it down and I read the other books and I came back to it because I have told myself that I will finish what I start. And that was why I came back to this book to try and finish it. And I did finish it with a bit of... See, I read law in Germany and I love reading. But this felt like one of the law books that I used to read where you are skimming for particular words. I was always skimming for the conversations. I was skimming for the action. I was always skimming to find the action in this book. The storyline is great. You know, about a medical student who then graduated to become a doctor. And then something went wrong at work. I don't want to put out all the details. Something went wrong at work, and he felt like it was injustice, and he was suing, I think the patient, because the patient, he was suing the hospital. Sorry, the patient was one of like the main, how do I put it, sponsors of the hospital. And so the hospital laid him off, and then he was like, no, it's not fair, it's not just. I want to make sure that I get back into this into this practice, into this hospital. And I was thinking, why don't you just switch? Why don't you just change? But I think he just wanted to belong. But it's also talked about how the children who are born outside of their home countries relate to these home countries. How I was born in my home country, but I grew up away from my home country. And a lot of people that I meet here in Germany, especially Africans, West Africans, be like, or some of them be like, I would want my child to go back with me to my country for 1, 2, 3 years to grow up with people that look like my child, for my child to know what the norm is and why I make certain decisions, why I would rather do this and not that, to make things easier for my child to understand, to grasp and all that. I understand that. And this book also kind of made me feel like, instead of him just up and leaving the United States and making his wife a single mother, he could have just opened up to his wife and moved with them, That would have been way easier, but he didn't do that. So that is what this book is about. So it's a difficult story. It also talks about SA, to some of his children, so his twins, for example, and the way that it was told was very tactful, but it's a book that also bears a lot of pain. So it's difficult to read if you like big grammar, if you like it was like unwrapping candy, just that it wasn't candy in it, just the story or just the plot. But it was difficult for me to read, especially after I've had these easy reads in this month. So, but we finished this book on 1st of September. This book, as I said, it is a book that sets in Joburg, Johannesburg, and Swaziland, and so Eswatini. And it was later that I saw, I don't know if you can see it. You see the cultural wear for the puberty dance that they do in Swaziland. And and at the back you find the translations of the terms that we used as well. And I liked it. I liked this book. I like the storyline. Is it all realistic? Probably not. It's basically like hoping it's a bit of, it was giving me the Nollywood, but that Nollywood movie, Worlds Apart, the one that shot Inedo into fame with, I think, Kenneth Okonkwo. That's the vibe it was giving me. That's what it reminded me of. This hairdresser of Harare, some part of the story was also funny. That was also giving me those vibes as well. I've never seen a woman, I hear those stories, but I think I've not had a direct encounter with a woman who is wooed by someone who is not interested in her, but they just want to cover up their homosexual thing. So that was this book as well. And it was interesting. It didn't only touch on this main topic that I talked about, but also family dynamics, when you expect that grief in the family would actually bring them together. But in that time of grief is when greed also rears its ugly head. And then that greed is sometimes even more powerful than grief. I don't know if it's not really greed, but it's a part of grief that they want to hold on to what they believe the person who has passed on is leaving them. So that's when their justice comes up, that sense of justice comes up. But it was sad. It was sad. So, this book, the story that is told of Yejide or Yejide, please help me if you are Yoruba. The story that was told in this book broke my heart. It broke my heart so much. And at some point I was like, women go through so much. And African women will go through worse. I remember when I first came to Germany, I didn't like Germany. I didn't like to be here. It was everything was just so foreign. And I was 12 years. I had left my friends. And then something also happened that kind of like broke me totally as well, because when you come on a family reunion visa, family reunification visa, and then barely some years later, even actually 2 weeks after you come, you realize that that's family reunion that you came for, family reunification, is not happening. It kind of takes something from you, and then all the effort you're putting into learning the language and everything is not working and all that. But I think one thing I've learned to appreciate about life in Germany is how I've learned to be autonomous. I've learned to be able to have the courage to make my decisions and stick by them, and I don't have to answer to anyone, and I don't have too much interference from people who shouldn't interfere in my life. And I've also seen some parts of different cultures in the world, and I'm like, okay, if this part of my culture doesn't fit me, I'll also be just fine without it. So that gives me that boldness to say, okay, I'll choose the parts of, I always say that I choose culture as a buffet. I take the parts that serve me, and the part that does not serve me, I leave. And why do I do that? Because culture and traditions are not static. They are dynamic. They keep changing. They keep evolving. And there's this conversation going on online about, do they call it culture, fossilization? But basically, those of us who are in the diaspora, growing up in the diaspora, we hold on to that identity that we have been told, we have been given by our parents so strongly and dearly, because we're like, if we let go, there's no difference anymore. Then we might as well be German, we might as well be English, we might as well just be any type. But because we have always been told we don't fit in, we also want to grab onto that thing that we don't fit in. And that is why you see that on 6th March, on TikTok, on Instagram, all the diasporan kids will be like, she they come from Ghana, she's a diva. Like, we'll be, dancing to the Ghanaian music and everything, because this is the culture that we know. It's as simple as that. Kind of grateful that some things that would worry me too much, I'm a bit farther away from it. Like, some part of German society is also hard, like this animosity, but this life of being anonymous, you can live your life a year and you've not seen your neighbor who lives up like above you. You only see the one who is close, like next to you, and you only say hello and bye, especially when you live in the city. When you live in the rural area, it's a bit different, but you get it, But sometimes I appreciate that more than having neighbors who are too nosy. I've had someone send me a message, a Nigerian married man. He lives in Germany. He sent me a message and said, congratulations, Phoebe, on your graduation. I know you from when you had the store. We've been Facebook friends for ages. And I watched your video 3 days ago. And I wanted to tell you that your makeup was too much. First of all, you probably also heard that I lost my mom 3 years ago. Not a word. And you knew my mom. Not a word. There are people who would still reach out and say, hey, I just heard it. Please accept my condolences. Right? You've seen my videos on life in Germany. I've never seen a comment of yours or say, oh, Phoebe, you did well with that video. No. But it is my makeup that is your concern. And for you to tell me I look beautiful without, first of all, I have a man at home. And he sees that, like, even now before I'm filming, he's seen the makeup. And he hasn't complained. And he wouldn't even complain because he knows I like it. And it's not like I'm coming here as a kakamu to be, or and as something like as some kind of horrible creature, or I'm looking. See, I used to be someone who would put 7 shades of blue on my eyelids when I was younger, 10 years ago. I've always loved makeup. The first day my husband saw me, I was wearing makeup and probably a 24-inch weave, right, or a wig. This journey of me being comfortable in my own skin is also one of the reasons why I have locks today. And also one of the reasons why I'm reading African books, because I do not want to detach too much from the culture that I knew growing up, because I've realized that after 20 years in Germany, I think really different from what I was taught or what I knew to be. And I just want to be able to read different perspectives and still be able to take what works for me, because some parts also work for me as well. And it is when I read books that talk about how an African woman is loving her body. She loves how her hips dip out. She loves how she feels when she has her cornrows done, the smoothness of it, or the smoothness of her hair, where she talks about how she loves her hair texture. And she just, puts it in an Afro puff and she moves on, and how she always loved her hair being in that Afro state. Loving the hair that grows from your scalp and not having to wear wigs to be more, is it convenient or whatever? These are all learning processes that we are going through. But I do not appreciate another married man leaving his own wife to comment on my husband's wife. It won't work. So this just an example of some of the things that I do not appreciate in some of our cultures, because I think he feels that he could be an uncle and he's talking to his niece, but uncle, I'm 33 years old. And anyways, let's continue. But this book basically talks about fertility, where she thought that she was the issue, but she wasn't. It talks about a woman having this pseudo pregnancy or I'm mixing German pronunciations with English pronunciation, but she thought she was pregnant and she wasn't, because she wanted to be pregnant so badly, and only to find out that it was her husband who was the issue. And how they use be a virgin, stay a virgin before you get married, and then she met this guy a virgin, and she didn't even know what to expect from a husband and all that. This joke that's on social media about they'll tell you don't date, so don't play with boys, so at 18 go to school, 21, and do you have any friends? 22, 23, where's your boyfriend? 25, won't you get married? But I'm still reading the book now. We need new names. This book is hilarious and sad. I could relate to the parts where she got to America, but it's basically about a young girl and how she sees how things are done around her. And she was growing up in not South Africa, in Zimbabwe, yes, and how history is told. And that's also another reason why I love reading books by African authors, to learn African history through fiction. And it works. It works with Chimamanda. It works with Titi Dangareba, and now it has worked with No Violet Bulawayo. This book is excellent. I love this book, and I'll read it again. Yeah, Jesse, homegoing. Yeah. Ayadama. So before we say true, enyim da monyum na me fa wish day chire ana menye watu abodwuma. So this is the author, right? I think you should see her now. I respect this woman so much. I think I don't want to compare her to Chimamanda, but the way she told a story and put it in a historical frame, the way she drew a circle from centuries to present time. I finished the book and I was like, oh, so that is the homegoing. That is the homegoing. First of all, I'm Ghanaian, as already said. I grew up in Takoradi. And so when she was talking about Cape Coast and all that, I could relate because I've been to the Elmina Castle plenty of times. And when you go to the Elmina Castle, there's a place called the Door of No Return. And there's also another fort in Princestown in Western Region. And Princestown was kind of a German fort. So, and then we had like the English and Dutch castles and forts along the coast as well. So I've learned about the slave trade in Ghana. Funny enough, they don't teach slave trade in Germany that much. It's probably in a whole history class, it's just one lesson. Yeah. But this book, if you love reading and you want to have an idea of how it looked on the other side, as in the United States, please read this. It's excellently written. You will cry. Yes, you will cry. You will laugh. And you just be like, how? She explains a mental disorder in a way that you would understand the victim. And there's this rote Faden, this golden line throughout the book. It's amazing. So of all the books I read, obviously Travel Noir was the first I started with, and I still love it. But I think now my favorite book for August is probably going to be Yajisi. Oh, I can't even choose a favorite, but this was so real. Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo was so real. So these are the books I read. This is my review. These would be Love in Color by Bolu Babalola and Tomorrow I Become a Woman by Iwanose Odafen. And this. So these are the books I'm going to read in September. Come back and let you know how these books were, how it went for me. And yeah, basically, thank you so much for sticking with me. I just thought that when I talk about these books, I will also let you know what these books are doing to me. And I'm learning my history through these books. I'm learning that as a young Black woman living away from home, I'm enough. There's nothing that I cannot achieve if I put my mind to it. Whatever helps my mental health, I should hold on well to it. And it is okay to go a different path. Yeah. And also, it is legitimate to daydream. So if I want to dream to be Oga Wife, or that my current Oga will be Oga Gaga, to be an Udogu, let me daydream, I beg. Everything is possible, you know? Or maybe I'm the Odelgo. You never know. But basically, these are the books I read. And thanks for sticking with me. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. I'll see you next month when I finish these. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do. My name is Phoebe. I'm a Ghanaian who grew up in Germany. So I'm a Ghanaian German, also with a bit of Togolese influence and a bit of Nigerian influence as well. I'm a legal interpreter and a legal trainee, and anything else. A girl with a big, crazy, crazy faith in a great future with God on her side. Yep. Peace out. They said millennials, that's what we're doing. Peace out.